Performance Conference, and I'm thankful for the song we just sung, Holiness.
Yes,
And
hallelujah.
because the verse or the chorus says, "Take my heart, form it. Take my mind, transform it.
Yes.
And take my will and conform it." And the honest truth is that I had never known those words. Although I was playing the guitar, so I was always just playing. And I knew you were saying something about the heart and things of that nature, but I never knew those exact words. But I was thinking back to our first few lessons on faith, virtue, and knowledge, and how faith and obedience transform the mind, and how virtue and godly fear renovate or reform the heart, and then how knowledge and wisdom conform our will, merge our will with godliness.
Hallelujah.
So it's a beautiful thing. But this is day 7 of our People Performance Conference, and this is the last day. And I think we've got some pretty good lessons here. There are 4 smaller lessons that I want to discuss this morning. And what they are is what I call a cycle of love. What we did yesterday, we finally broke free from the pool, the spiritual pool in our flesh. We have evaded the headwinds, and we are now journeying for the first time free of external resistance. So we're going to find that this final ascent of the pinnacle point is the most uncomplicated. Okay, and knowing that we are now also at our most optimal state, spiritual state. So as long as we keep things in their proper perspective and places, these next few degrees are going to be pretty straightforward, and we should have great success with them. The first spiritual degree we're going to discuss today is meekness. Okay, I call it the answer to pride. Pride is one of those 16 spiritual deficits, if you will, that holiness. The way of holiness resolved. It is one of the worst ones. Okay, pride is one of the worst spiritual deficits. So we want to talk about pride today and address that. Who has someone from Mike? Can you please read our scripture here?
Galatians 6, 1 through 4. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such and one in spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Messiah. For if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself.
Alright, so if anyone's overtaken in the fault, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness. You don't go and tell credit business. You don't go and talk about them behind her back. All right? But I hear that a lot. And one thing that I've always appreciated is that Sherry and I usually are the last people to know on everything. You know? We really are. And I don't know half the things that go on. And sometimes in that way, ignorance can be bliss. But then every once in a while, somebody will be talking to me. They'll say, trying gossiping, and whether it's true or not, I always stop them. I said, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Okay? Because we don't want to judge others. We want to have a spirit of meekness and look to restore each other when we do fall short of righteousness. Now, this is what we've learned so far. At this point in our quest, we've gone through 12 degrees of holiness. Okay, and we are now sitting at that level of godliness. We have reestablished our perfect union with our Creator. We've been restored, reconciled, and now our spirits are in a state of communion. And meekness is what allows us to ascend to the level of kindness. And the reason why I believe meekness is the interval between godliness and kindness is because at this level of godliness, we said we are learning more about our Creator. We have a progressive relationship with Him at the highest level. And my assertion is that once we get to that level of understanding of who our Creator is, we naturally develop a sense of meekness. We see how insignificant we are. We see how small we are in comparison to Him, His way, and also His grand scheme redemption and the process, not just our own redemption, but redemption of the entire world, which is His plan. So we naturally become meek. So an infinite meekness. Meekness is very similar to virtue. It is a unique power from the Lord of us don't believe it. Okay? There's power in being meek. You'll see that in the lesson today. The church is filled with men and women who are addicted to the praise of men, yet they have no desire to receive praise from the Father. Does anyone agree with that? You see a lot of people in the world, a lot of men, pastors, leaders, who just love the praise of men. Where did this start? We've got some Bible characters who kind of can give a witness to this testimony. Who do you see in the Bible who were like this?
They were Paul and where they came and they healed the individual, and the crowd converted upon him.
Yes.
And was giving them the honor and the glory. And he said, no, said, well, it's not us, but it's the Yahshua, the Almighty.
Yes.
Is that giving us the Holy Spirit and the power to do these things.
So even in what you're saying, Deacon Penn, there is some innate desire in man to somehow glorify and worship man. Maybe even more natural or more immediate than giving the praise where it's due to the Most High.
Yes.
Okay. Who else do you see individual Bible characters who were addicted to the praise of men?
The religious leaders.
The religious leaders, the Pharisees. Senator?
Nebuchadnezzar,
Nebuchadnezzar.
the prophet, had that image built of himself.
Yes.
And
Why do you think that is? Why do so many of us love to receive praise from men?
Power.
Power? Makes you feel powerful? Makes you feel a certain way, doesn't it? Your heart gets lifted up. You start to, but those are fleshly, carnal feelings. And the reason why I believe it is because a lot of us want to get ours right now. We want to feel good. We want to get our praise right now. Whereas those of us who are receiving praise from the Father, it's hardly ever immediate, hardly ever visible. It's reserved for a better day. Okay? So we have to make sure we keep that in perspective. Now, this Pharisaical spirit attempts to magnify the creature over the Creator. Okay? The Bible says that in the book of Romans, that men's hearts were prone to doing that. All that being said, we should still honor those who deserve honor, but we should receive honor in the spirit of meekness. Okay? Otherwise, all of a sudden, our expectancies begin to shift. Now we expect to get praise. Whenever I go somewhere, I want people paying me a certain amount of money, or I'm not going to go anymore. Okay? Or I got to get a standing ovation when I walk in the room. Everyone should stand up, and until I sit down, they should remain standing. Okay? Our expectancies have shifted now. And now we're not doing it for the Most High. We're doing it for ourselves. It's about us now. We have to make sure we keep that. If we are worthy of honor, receive the honor in the spirit of meekness. Otherwise, we buy into the hype that others will create around us because of their lack of maturity. Okay, so when you see all these men and women praising men and giving them honor and refusing to do the same for the Most High, it's because they're not mature. Okay, they lack of spiritual maturity. And this eventually leads to spiritual blindness. We talked about that yesterday and how critical a position that is, being spiritually blind. Okay. Hold on, that's my slide here. Here we have the 3 degrees of meekness. We have lowliness, humility, and service. Okay. Defining meekness is the tendency to submit ourselves and our ambition to a higher authority or calling. Involuntary forbearance, calm temperament, which causes one to straightly yield. That's meekness. And it begins with being lowly, which is modest in station, condition, or nature, and a quiet voice, soft and plain or prosaic. So the reason why I feel like there are so few lowly people is because we don't appreciate our roles. Okay? When you don't appreciate your role, you're looking at somebody who's higher than you. You think, you know what? I can do that. I should probably be there. But why is she there? And why? So then all of a sudden,